welcome to Cryptids Decrypted. It feels very weird to say that after about 3 years of hiatus, but we're back and we're not going to quit until we get fucking Rob Lowe on the podcast. If this is your first episode listening, there are 50 other episodes, which is kind of fucking wild to think about. But we have 50 episodes from a long time ago. Some of them, the audio quality, not great, but some of them are true gems. So, like, go back and listen to those after you listen to this. But the nice thing is, you can jump in right here because that's what we're doing. We're coming in hot. We got a lot to talk about. But first, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Ashton McCauley. I am an author and a data scientist. I write about cryptids. I've written several fiction books about them. At this point, I've interviewed more cryptozoology experts than I can remember, having gone through our backlog. Like, it's kind of crazy to see the people I talk to. And I started this podcast with John and my friend Tyler, like, in 2020, and now we're back. Who are you?
Hi, my name's John. I am none of those things that Ashton just listed. I am much less impressive, but I enjoy having fun discussions about cryptids and doing research. But bro, I am stoked to be back. 2023, like, was it really only 3 years ago? Because you say 2020, that's when it feels like we stop doing this.
I know, that's what I thought too, but it's only been 3 years. It feels like a lot more because a lot of shit's happened since then.
Well, and Ashton, that's what fatherhood will do to you. And
Yeah.
For the listeners of the pod, Ashton is a new dad. Now, it's not a humanoid, but Ashton, how has it been to be a father and have a newborn and the late nights, cleaning up the accidents, all that fun stuff?
Yeah, so I never thought that I would talk about the relations I had with a cryptid on this podcast and birth this unholy spawn that's really close to the Jersey Devil, but it's been running my life.
Alan does not look like the Jersey Devil. How dare you?
I have a puppy is what John's talking about, and it has been running my life for the last year. But he's great. He's asleep right now next to me. He's good. One other thing I did birth since we've been gone, I birthed a whole ass new book. And with like a legitimate publisher that you could probably find in bookstores if you went and looked. Like, it's in some of them. It's called One Night at Cadassi. Hold on, let me get it. Ooh, look at that organic plug. Look, One Night at Cadassi. It's comedy sci-fi. It's not about cryptids. It is really good. It's pretty short. I really like it. People really like it. I want to do more of them. So if you like this podcast and you like my other writing, please go check it out. One Night at Cadassi. You can go to a bookstore and ask for it. They might have it, or they will order it for you, or you can get it anywhere books are sold.
People are saying it's a really fun read. Ashton's not saying it's a fun read, but people are saying it.
Yeah, some people are saying that maybe Project Hail Mary might have ripped off some of the vibes. And to them, I say, this came out after that. I did write it before I read Project Hail Mary, but it did definitely come out after that. So, Andy Weir, like, maybe we're just on the same wavelength, okay? We're just two bros writing good fiction. But I wanted to dive into, like, we're going to do sort of a new format. And I think it's part of keeping it a little bit loosey-goosey and just talking about what's interesting to us, and then maybe keeping up with current events on cryptids, which sometimes there are not. I feel like it's really feast or famine. So we've done a shit ton of cryptids, and it turns out like a lot of them probably not real, guys. Like, I know that might turn some of you up, but like,
that's heartbreaking.
Turns out like a lot of these cryptids might not be real. In fact, most of them, and maybe not all of them, might not be real. So that does make finding new evidence hard, especially as we get better and better cameras. But luckily, we have this awesome gift of AI.
It's been kind of a double whammy, man.
Yeah.
First, we have the Bigfoot footage disavowed, and the original guy came out and said, yeah, this is going to shock the world. Here's the suit. We faked it. And then we have AI that just takes all doubt and puts an exponential magnifier on.
Yeah, it's like, oh, now we can't trust fucking any video we see of a cryptid. But I do like, that is interesting. So we're going to do a little bit at the top about some stuff that's happened since we left, and then we'll go into today's topic, which is more shit about UFOs. We'll get there. But the Patterson-Gimlin footage, which if you've listened to any of our episodes on Bigfoot, used to be considered the silver bullet evidence that people would point to and be like, you can't fake that shit. Well, I tell you what, turns out you can fake that shit, and they did fake that shit. And they came out and talked about how it's like, yep, that was a guy in a suit, which I think a lot of us looking at the footage were probably like, yeah, that tracks. It did look like a guy in a suit. But I mean, I remember talking to Dr. Jeff Meldrum, who has since passed away, and he talked about seeing the Patterson-Gimlin footage when he was a kid, and that inspiring him to be a cryptozoologist. So like that footage had an effect on people. But I think in hindsight, you're like, yeah, it's some kind of fucking gorilla suit.
I mean, you mentioned he was one of the folks that passed. I feel like we're kind of like a season 1 of the Power Rangers thing where people probably shouldn't interview on our show anymore.
Yeah,
There's
like
been a
at this point, like
nasty.
we're a bad luck sign because we also, I mean, okay, look, we also lost Peter Byrne, but he was in his 90s. And Peter Byrne, my favorite interview I ever did. He was a World War II fighter pilot, hunted the Yeti in the Himalayas with Tenzing Norgay, literally the first Sherpa to summit Everest, which is just fucking wild. Was paid to come hunt Bigfoot in the U.S. and lived out on the Oregon coast until he passed away. I think it was last year or the year before. But if you want to go back and listen to that interview, the quality of the audio is not great because he called me on his landline and it was hard to get good audio off that.
I mean,
But
it's too bad you didn't just drive down and go interview him in person. You're not that
we
far.
talked about it when we were on the phone of like, I would love to go out there and hunt Bigfoot with him, but then the pandemic was an issue. So it didn't really clear up in time for me to go down there and hang out with this guy. But
Unfortunate.
so yeah, we lost a couple of people that we interviewed. One of them still in jail, which is relevant. We pulled that interview, so you're not going to find it. But I did interview the head of the Mutual UFO Network, who went to jail for, I believe, solicitation. Not the first head of MUFON. I will not interview the current head of MUFON for that same reason, because it seems like they might all be fucking crazy, but relevant because we're talking about aliens today.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to say about things that have happened since we were last
so
year?
you mentioned this at the top of the show, but we're not quitting until we get Rob Lowe on this show. Rob, come on, man.
Yeah.
Here's what you've done since we quit. You started a Netflix movie with your son. Great. Bucket list item. Check that off. You don't need to do another one of those. You started hosting The Floor in 2024, another game show. After that samurai show with the dude in the gyro ball that spins around, like, good for you. 3 seasons. That should be wrapping up this year.
Netflix doesn't like to do anything for more than 3 seasons.
Well, that one's on Fox. The Floor is on Fox. You know how Fox loves their summertime game shows to kind of fill the air there. 911 Lone Star got canceled. It's all wrapped up. You have time to come join us. We are here. We would love to talk with you. And also, we know you've got your own podcast that you've been doing for a while now. Literally. So you've got the chops. You've got the experience. We have our
You don't need to be
arms
afraid
open.
of coming on here, Rob Lowe. Like,
No,
you
we'd
don't,
love
you don't
it.
need to be afraid of us. I know that we're professionals, and that's hard for you to come into this space with us. But like, we're just normal people.
We won't bite. The
Yeah.
cryptids will, but like we said, most cryptids aren't actually real, so you don't need
We're
to worry
just
about
like
their
normal
teeth.
people with like, look, we've got like 50,000 listens, okay? Which is
That's pretty
also,
impressive.
that's also fucking like batshit insane that we have 50,000 listens. But like, Rob Lowe, like, hey, your numbers might be smaller than that. They probably are. Who's to say? Who can verify? But maybe you come on here and you'll get that.
He could
Cryptids
boost
Decrypted
his
bump.
numbers with our audience.
Yeah, I think that'd be good for you. So Rob Lowe, get your ass on here. We'll sit down. We'll have a conversation. It'll be great. You know, you want to come out in person? You probably don't. But like, I mean, if you did, sure, we'll host you. We'll do it live. I don't even know how that would work. But
Oh, we just go get a table. Each of us would have mics. I've seen many podcasters do
yeah,
it live.
we'll go to Red Lobster. We'll sit down. We'll get some cheddar bay biscuits and some.
Bro, they brought back endless shrimp.
I know they brought
again.
back endless shrimp, baby. I've been thinking about it all day. It's all I'm thinking about. But Rob Lowe will get some endless shrimp. We'll talk about cryptids. Make this happen. Like, come on, man. Just look. I'm looking dead in the camera, straight at your face. Rob Lowe, come on, man. Come on, man. We don't need this clearly, but like you do. Rob Lowe's career is clearly on a downward slide, so he could probably get on here. But yeah,
Let's make it happen.
yeah, let's make it happen. Should we talk about some UFO shit? I had some stuff on here that I'm going to save for next time because I want to make I have some big things to say about AI and cryptozoology, but I honestly think at this point it could probably fill its own episode. And I went down a rabbit hole with UFO stuff today that I think is important that we should give some time to.
Okay. Yeah. I've got one weird rabbit hole that I went down, but I am fascinated to hear all the exploratory stuff that you did.
Yeah. So one of the exploratory things I did in preparation for this is I went back and I listened to the episode that Tyler and I did way back from the first season.
Season 1, yeah.
All about Roswell in the history of the mystery, as we would say. And one thing that popped out of me...
was that a Mike Tyson reference?
No, just because it was a myth. History of the mystery. But one of the things that popped out at me from that was ridiculous is people thought that the U.S. government was testing aliens by dropping them out of the sky to see what happened when they dropped them from extreme height onto the ground, and it was crash test dummies. I'd completely forgotten that existed, and they were like, these things have aluminum bones. And it's like, yeah, because they're fucking crash test dummies, you guys. So there was that. But what I wanted to go sort of deeper on was, like, there's been a lot of UFO talk since we stopped recording the podcast last time. And it's gotten, like, we'll call it legit. As legit as it's going to get. And it's all sort of thanks to Tom DeLonge. So before we start talking about UFOs, I do want to, like, have a disclaimer. UFOs are on the edge of a lot of batshit conspiracies that involve some not so great people. And I feel like anytime we touch on anything that gets close to a government conspiracy, like, we start getting into that territory. Just want to say, podcast is for fun. To talk about fringe shit that's interesting. This about, like, little green men and the possibility, in quotes, of their existence. That's it. No other adjacent conspiracies. None of that shit. Some QAnon people found us last time and recorded entire audiobooks with us. Look, it was a whole mess. Just about little green men. That's all it is. And little green women. Little green people.
Little green people.
Yeah. Little green people. That's what this is about. So, depending on who you ask, a lot of this UFO shit that came out was either a bombshell or a wet fart. And one of the people in the bombshell camp is none other than Tom. Is it Tom DeLonge or Tom DeLonge? I don't know.
Tom DeLonge, I believe.
DeLonge sounds nicer.
DeLonge.
And if you're like, who the fuck is Tom DeLonge? Let me ask you.
I mean, he's feeling this.
You know Blink 182? Tom DeLonge is the better lead singer of Blink 182. Sorry, Matt Skiba of Alkaline Trio.
The original, yes.
Yeah, the original and the current singer of Blink 182. So since we recorded last time, Blink 182 is back, baby. But part of the reason why Tom DeLonge left Blink 182 15 was to go research UFO shit. And he helped fund an organization called To the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences. And this organization is wild. You might be wondering, like, why arts and sciences if you're just going to study UFOs? So it was founded as a for-profit company, which is different than the way that most of these things run. Because most of the UFO people, they're nonprofits. But To the Stars, they had a couple of branches. So they had a branch that was dedicated to studying UFOs, sort of like scientifically and with military evidence. And this was founded by ex-military members. They had a branch that was for lobbying Congress, so people who knew who to talk to get classified materials released. And then they also had a media arm to produce comics and stuff to fund the other parts of the business.
I was wondering where the profit aspect came from, but it was comics. Interesting.
Comics, and, like, I think they did some music stuff and, like, media branding that just had, like, alien flair to it.
They had to have had kids' books.
I mean, maybe. Who knows? But notably, so several of the people that signed on were ex-military that were specifically focused on UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenons, which is the less cool term for UFO. And together, these people, they came together, and in 2017, they started releasing a bunch of videos. I think it was 2017. They were authenticated. They were accounts from pilots who had encountered UAPs during military exercises. And really, there are three main videos to talk through, and I will show some of them. So this is now a video podcast as well. That's something that's new. If you're not on video and you're like, I want to go look these up, I will tell you how to find the videos. It's not hard. And we'll describe them. There's not a lot to them. So we have the Tic Tac incident, and this is not about bad breath. One of the videos was from 2004. There were two fighter pilots who were just sort of out on maneuvers, and they were tasked with a special mission. So they were out on patrol, and they were asked to go in for a real world exercise. And notably, they were asked if they were carrying live ammunition. No, we don't have bullets in these planes. I'm like, no, that's fine. You go anyway. But, you know, the Navy.
They've seen Empire Strikes Back. If you have a tow cable, you're good.
Yeah, they could probably. I assume that fighter jets have tow cables, and if not, that's on them. So the aircraft carrier that they had been reporting to.
Fighter jets do not have tow cables.
I mean, hey, we don't know. Okay, they might.
I've played enough Ace Combat. I think I know.
The U.S. government wants to keep the tow cables under wraps. Okay, they don't tell you that the fighter jets have tow cables on them because that's how they get you. But this is just, hey, listen to me. Go out there and find out if the fighter pilots have tow cables on them. All right, Don't let it. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not going to foment any sort of government unrest. I'm done with that shit. The aircraft carrier that they had been reporting to had been picking up UAPs for about a week. They said there was hundreds of them falling like snow from the sky, and it was these objects that were about the size of a jet, like an F-18 jet. They were going from 80,000 feet, which is well above the height for commercial aircraft, and then dropping instantly to sea level, like with no time in between, just going from 80,000 feet to nothing.
It's like teleporting?
Yeah, or moving very fast.
Mm.
So fighter pilot David Fravor, David Fravor brings the flavor, historically, is what they said about him. But so David Fravor of Flavortown takes off, and he goes out to track this thing. And they've got it on radar, infrared, and he actually flies close enough that he can see with his eyes. He sort of does this. He flies above it, flips upside down, gives it the bird, and takes a picture. That's actually Top Gun, so that didn't happen. But he did spiral down. Sometimes my memory gets confused with 80s movies. I don't know what's reality and what happened in the past. But so he spirals down. He gets close to this thing. And he says it's about the size of his plane. It's smooth. There's no visible wings or propulsion source. He tries to cut it off, and then it accelerates away with insane speed, and almost instantly is picked up by radar 60 miles away.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like covering quite some distance. And let me pull up this video, and I will share it with you. You can watch this together. This is I believe the infrared video of it. So here we go. And notably, it just sort of like zooms off to the side and then disappears.
Mhm.
It's sort of moving
Mhm.
erratically. And like everybody who looked at that from the UFO community was like, "That's it. It's cooked. We found it." Because this was a big deal because it was official military footage and it was not yet declassified, but they found a way to share it. I don't know exactly how they did that.
So does
Go ahead.
that give credence to the theory that Nope is actually a documentary and not a fantasy movie from Jordan Peele?
I question every cinematic masterpiece I see and whether or not it's a documentary.
Is Nope a cinematic masterpiece or a good movie?
I mean, look, some things that happened in that movie still haunt me to this day. I don't want to think about being inside the big alien stomach with all the other people. That was a lot.
That's fair.
Yeah, that scene was quite a lot. And then they just had the woman with no face for like not a lot. So anyways, we see that. What's the logical explanation? And I'm going to rain on Tom DeLonge's parade a little bit, because if you ask Tom DeLonge, he's like, the logical explanation is fucking aliens. And apparently the technology used to track the object with infrared was very new and prone to causing false positives. So a lot of experts think that the device was misfocused on a distant commercial airliner, and that is what made it look like a UFO. It made it pop off screen. Notably, the US government, I believe, still classifies this one as an unidentified aerial phenomenon and has not commented on it like they have with some of the other videos.
Well, it's a phenomenon, not an aircraft, right?
Yeah, it's true. And like, they don't really know. The fact that the guy saw it with his naked eye, that's pretty crazy. Like, if I saw a smooth Tic Tac the size of an F-16,
Yeah.
I'd probably lose my shit. Like, that's weird. And the second video they released was called Gimbal, Gimbal. And it's similar video, but this time we have cockpit audio, and I'll play that, and then we can talk through it afterward.
All right, so we're gonna look into Gumbo's cousin Gimbal. I can't wait.
Yeah, this is Gumbo, big Gumbo the alien. All right.
Hey, this is a fucking drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots to the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not our LNS, though, is it? It's not. It is the LNS, dude. Well, if there's look at that thing. It's rotating.
Okay, so a couple of interesting things that you hear in that video. The first thing they say is that it's moving into the wind at incredible speed, and the wind is at 120 knots. They also say there's a fleet of them at one point. So there was multiple UAPs, according to one of them, that I believe he was spotting with the naked eye, not with the radar, because you don't see it when you look at the radar. The other kind of crazy thing is the object rotates, which is why it's called gimbal. because it looks like it rotates on a gimbal and then it just sort of smoothly turns midair with no indication of propulsion or anything else like that. And people, I guess there was somebody who said they studied the temperature of the object, which was incredibly hot, and then the air around it was anomalously cold. And then this was declassified in 2020, which we'll kind of get to, but that's when a lot of this was declassified. And the Navy still has this one saying it's an unidentified object. People who've gone later and tried to debunk it say it's a camera artifact, and they say that it's the fact that the camera that's tracking it is actually on a gimbal itself. And so when it rotates, it's the camera rotating, trying to track it. And if you look at the clouds in the background, they rotate with it a little bit, but I think it's still kind of spooky.
Well, you have that leveling line that also rotates as you look at the video as well, slightly.
Yeah, so it's like that does seem right to me. I mean, look, a lot of this, like, I'm probably guessing they're not going to declassify it if they think it's fucking aliens. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. That doesn't really seem like it's in the U.S. government's best interest.
They're throwing a bone. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, look, this is semi-related, but we should go see Disclosure Day when it comes out this summer, the new Steven Spielberg alien joint, because I'm sure there's going to be a rash of alien sightings when that comes out, and we'll do a Cinema Decrypted on it because
I can't wait.
That one.
That sounds great.
Yeah. Okay. Last one was called Go Fast. Very similar to Gimbal. It's anomalous because of how low it was and how fast it was moving. So they said it was moving at around like just over sea level, moving insanely fast. And the official record says that the video may have had some issues. In congressional testimony, it was said that the object is not actually close to the water and is more likely at 13,000 feet. And it's just a little bit of eye trickery based on the way the camera captured it. The Navy suspects this one was a balloon or a drone, but like the other objects, the aviators who were there dispute it. And they say, no, I know what a balloon looks like. I know what a drone looks like. It's neither of those things.
I mean, you're just describing Sonic the Hedgehog running on water. So that's kind of where my head goes.
Don't worry. We'll get there.
We'll get there. Okay.
So, all right. What happened with these videos? They were released over time by the TTSA, the organization Tom DeLonge. The first batch was released.
Hang on, are we not watching that third video?
I don't think I had Go Fast. Let me pull it up. You're right. That's on me.
You can't tease me with Sonic the Hedgehog and not show me Sonic the Hedgehog.
It's true. I mean, well, it's funny because Sonic the Hedgehog does have several like kind of UFO references in the first film. Here we go. Navy Go Fast. Screen. Right. Here we go. Navy Go Fast.
Oh, I see the perspective.
Yeah, and you can't really like. There it is.
They're shooting. Did you box moving target? No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow. Look at the fly.
Yeah, so they were pretty jazzed about it. They're like, this thing is moving. This is a blue hedgehog just churning along the water.
Dude, these military people swear a lot.
Yeah,
that blows my mind.
Look, man, if I'm flying a fighter jet, like, A, I've already got a lot of stones, and B, if I see some shit that's crazy, you know I'm gonna be reacting like that. I've seen Will Smith in Independence Day, and he's my model for anybody who wants to be a fighter pilot.
Touche.
The first two were released in 2017 in conjunction with the New York Times article exposing the government project for UAPs and how much funding was going into it. Go Fast was released later in 2019, and then in 2020, all of the videos were declassified. And then this is the same year that key members departed TTSA after saying that the company was in huge debt and also that the mission, quote unquote, was accomplished. So Tom DeLonge is still the CEO of TTSA, but they are considerably less active and they've pivoted to more just be basically a commercial company that has some sort of alien stuff in it. But before I leave it, I did have one last thing.
Ashton's Conspiracy Corner.
That's right, we're back, Conspiracy Corner. So let's go into the timing of all this a little bit, okay? These start coming out in 2017. You know what's in production in 2017?
A lot of
little
things.
Film called Sonic the Hedgehog. So Sonic the Hedgehog is deep in production in 2017. They're using these videos, they're drumming up the juice. And then in 2019, we get our first look at Sonic the Hedgehog. And what does everybody do? Freak the fuck out. Because they're
He's
like,
got the teeth, man.
He's
got the weird teeth.
This hedgehog looks like dog shit. We hate it. Everybody hates it. The pitchforks are out. And so they're like, okay, we got to release this Go Fast video to distract from Sonic the Hedgehog, which they do. And it works beautifully. Nobody's thinking about Sonic the Hedgehog. Nobody's thinking about it. And then by the time they come back, he's looking good. 2020 rolls around, the pandemic hits, bam. Sonic the Hedgehog, dead in the water. Can't release, pandemic, not making enough money. And what do they do? They're like, well, Sonic's an alien. Let's get some congressional fucking testimony going about aliens to drum up promotion for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and then let's make 3 more of them and a Knuckles miniseries. So that's my theory, is that this TTSA, the arts part of it, is actually a secret branch funding Sonic the Hedgehog. And this is all a guerrilla marketing stunt. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
So where does Paramount fit into this? Are they helping fund
Bro,
all of this?
Where does Paramount not fit into all of this? Okay, Paramount, big mountain, pointed, triangle, Illuminati, the triangle with the eye in the middle. Paramount is the eye. Mount Rainier, famous for aliens. Mountain, pointy, Paramount, mountain, pointy. It's all connected. Like, I just want people to open their fucking minds a little bit, okay? And just like think about what you consume. So the next time you go to the theater, you think you have a good time watching Dr. Eggman, you think you're gonna let Jim Carrey make some money, I just want you to know what you're really making money for. Okay? It's the dark money behind Sonic the Hedgehog that's funded by UFO conspiracy nuts. All right? That's all I gotta say. I think we know.
Besides Knuckles, they made good products. Sonic 1, 2, and 3 are great movies.
I'm not saying they're not good films. I'm just saying it's probably a psyop. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying that Sonic the Hedgehog is a psyop by the art wing of a UFO conspiracy. All right.
I mean, I guess I'm okay with that.
You know, actually, now that I say it, I am kind of okay with that as well. Yeah, I'm into it. So you looked into some alien shit. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so really fascinating. My sister-in-law, she goes on some of these rants every now and again, and it makes me just, question and look into things. And it was last year that she was like, there's a giant colony ship coming to Earth. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Where did that come from? And then she sent me this article. And so I went down a bit of a rabbit hole on an old Bulgarian lady named Baba Vanga. Now, she died. She died in the 90s. She was a Bulgarian mystic / healer who was blinded as a teenager, and she claimed she could see the future.
Just real quick, did she die, would you say, back in 94?
94? I think it was 96.
Damn it. So many good things happened in 94. Anyways.
Her death is a good thing?
Hey, look, we don't know. Maybe it gave us this conspiracy. I'm just hearing about this for the first time.
Okay. Well, do you want to know how she was blinded when she was 13?
Okay. My guess is that a truck spilled some ooze on the ground and she touched it and went blind, but also it made mutant turtles.
No, that's a Daredevil.
Shit.
Yeah. No, she's actually Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, because when she was 13, she was picked up by a tornado and thrown into a field. And her eyes were all sorts of messed up. She had 2 unsuccessful operations, and then she was blinded because this was like the 30s. Like, she was old.
Now I kind of feel bad about making a joke about her because
probably, yeah.
It kind of seems like she went through it, and it being a tornado.
Yeah. And then in the 1940s is when she really started pulling in believers. You know what happened in the 1940s?
No, what happened in the 1940s?
A little thing called WW2.
Yeah.
She was a soothsayer, and Eastern Europe is where a lot of shit went down. So there were a bunch of people that wanted to know if their loved ones were all right. And so they kind of came to Baba Vanga. The Bulgarian Communist Party tried to suppress her activities, but she would wind up going to work at the Institute of Suggestology. And I swear to God, I did not make up suggestology. That is a real thing. And it's apparently a learning methodology for accelerated learning of languages. Just wild shit. In 1990, my birth year, she picked a patron saint and decided a church should be built for her. And then, weirdly enough, it was.
All right.
She had a bunch of followers that are stout believers, and she's made a bunch of predictions. Now, none of these are actually written down. Like, none of these are verified, so there's been a little bit of a squishiness that's gone here, there, everywhere.
Well, stout believers usually are a little squishy, you know?
Yeah, they're stout.
Because they're stout, yeah.
It's all hearsay, but she allegedly predicted the beginning of World War II, the date of her own death, the dissolution of the Soviet Union, the 9/11 attacks, and then she predicted that an African American would be the 44th president of the United States of America.
Well, okay, so just real quick, some of those are impressive. Predicting your own death. Look, theoretically, anybody can do it.
The date
You just
of her
got to
death.
commit
Yes.
to that bit. Like, anyone can predict their own death. Most people shouldn't. I'm going to
That's
go ahead
fair.
and say that all people shouldn't, but that one, less impressed.
That's
The
fair.
rest of those, that's pretty cool.
But then again, none of this was written down. So are we actually sure that, you know, for the 9/11 attacks, it wasn't, there's going to be a terrorist attack sometime in the next 10 years in America, which, yeah, you look at the 80s and the 90s and it's like, that's probably fair. Look at the
Pretty good bet.
information age.
Pretty good bet.
And then for Barack Obama, was it, well, there's going to be an African American eventually in the next 5 presidents nominated. And it's like, well, I mean, okay, yeah, that's fair. But Ashton, why the hell is all this relevant? Well,
Why is it relevant, John?
she predicted that in November of 2026, a large alien spacecraft would enter the Earth's atmosphere and make contact. And these would be nice, friendly aliens. Also, by the way, apparently World War III is this year, according to her, which is actually kind of tracking.
No,
we
wait,
got
so
a-
hold on. November 2026 is when the colony ship is coming?
Yes.
Okay.
And
alright.
again, they are nice aliens that will help us advance our society and move things forward.
So Cocoon, not Mars Attacks.
Yeah, there's been a massive uptick in UAPs, as we've discussed. And then this kind of brings us back. Last year in 2025, early on in the year, 31/Atlas was spotted. This is a giant interstellar object, which may or may not be an alien spacecraft, that is, quote, larger than Manhattan. And it was rocketing, and that's no pun intended, at like 100 meters per second or something like that, towards Earth. Not meters per second, kilometers per second, towards Earth. Could have done a lot of damage. Now, it was never in danger of coming by Earth, and I believe it passed Earth, somewhere in between Earth and the sun, in October of 2025. Now, officially, this is just a giant comment, but my favorite theory is it actually is a colony ship from an alien species. And, you know, Ashton, when it's first date, and you're a little nervous picking up that special little honey, don't you always do a drive-by of their house before you go in and knock on that door?
Yeah.
Is this not just a drive-by?
Put a few bullets in the side of the house, make them feel uncomfortable, then you come in and save them. Yeah. you
We're
should
not talking
absolutely
about
do it.
we're not talking about your old house, Ashton.
Sorry, slipped into the manosphere real quick. It just infected my brain for a minute. Let me just jack out of the matrix. Okay, I'm back.
But with how quickly this thing was moving, and if the expanse taught me anything, it overshot us and needs to turn around. So just kind of fascinating that there's been predictions. It's all lining up. And I guess, you know, the nice part is, according to Baba Vanga, we won't go to war with the Martians until next millennium, 3005.
That's why we raised the draft age, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. There's apparently a civilization on Mars. I don't know. I watched Invincible. They also agree. Granted, that's a comic book with very large interstellar alien species that can mate with Earthlings. But also the other really cool thing, in a couple hundred years, in 2020 or in 2288, those aliens that are going to be landing, they're going to help us build underwater cities, according to Baba Vanga. So we're going to have Atlas. Or Atlantis. How cool is that going to be?
I mean, this sounds pretty good. And underwater cities do sound like something we need, given, you know, climate change. It feels like maybe that's a good idea. So far, this is sounding all right. I mean, the World War III part I'm not in love with, but that does seem like pretty accurate given what we're going through as a society.
Right now, it's just a police action because wars need congressional approval, so it's not a war.
Yeah. That's another thing that happened since we last. The timeline got darker.
It did, but Baba Vanga says it's getting better.
Baba, yeah. Look, I'm a believer now. I would love to meet Baba Vanga's aliens. Does she have a date in November, or is it just in November?
November of 2026.
Okay, cool. I'll make sure to move my book releases away from that. I don't want the aliens stepping on my.
Well, just make sure you got PTO lined up too, because you may have to take the whole month off.
Yeah,
we don't know if it's going to be November 1st or November 30th. Like, are they going to come here for Thanksgiving?
That's
Is
what I was
that what it
thinking.
really is? Is this going to be their Thanksgiving? We are God.
I mean, that honestly, it makes a lot of sense if you think about it, and
Full circle.
makes all the sense in the world. But what if we don't know? Like maybe she thought that the aliens were coming for Thanksgiving, but she didn't realize it was Canadian Thanksgiving. So
That's
they're actually going to
October.
be here in October. So we
That's
should
tough.
prepare early just to be safe. Like this is our warning to you, the listeners, which presuming there are still some of you out there, I guess we'll find out. Like just maybe prep both Thanksgivings for your alien invasion kit. Because even if the aliens are nice, I feel like society is going to go a little bit nuts when that happens.
Well, and society may piss off the aliens, and then, when a
Yeah,
dog bites you,
if there was a leader that was going to push a button and nuke some friendly aliens, that does sound like Trump. If I'm being like, of all the people I want in power when we make first contact, I mean, he's bottom of the list for a lot of things, but he's really at the bottom of the list for that one. I think I would have rather had like a Bill Clinton.
I mean, you don't think he'll have just watched Independence Day and be like, I know how to solve this. Where's Will Smith? Where's a farmer who drives or who flies a crop duster?
Look, we still got Randy Quaid. We got to find him because he's out there, but we don't know where.
What if
Dennis
we grab...
Quaid is friends with Trump.
I was going to say, what if we grab his son, Jack Quaid?
Well, so Jack Quaid, thankfully, is not in, like, he seems to be a good one. Dennis Quaid,
so he could make that sacrifice to go fly the nuke up.
But this feels like, look, it's the perfect synergy to just get Randy Quaid again and have him do it for real. Like, of the people who need a character arc to make them better in the world again, like, Randy Quaid needs this. So, okay, new theory. So November, President Trump, assuming he has not been impeached by then, which we can only hope, but like history tells us probably not.
Bro, if it hasn't happened by now, it's not happening.
Yeah, but you never know. Maybe miracles happen. He calls Randy Quaid, and we actually get Randy Quaid to fly up into this spaceship. And then, like, yes, it's one plane into a spaceship the size of Manhattan, and no, it's probably not going to do anything, but that would be kind of a full circle moment.
But if it has a nuke on it, it absolutely could.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is this is going to be, allegedly, according to Baba Vanga, an alien spaceship the size of Manhattan that is going to have like tons of natural resources. It's going to have the cure to cancer. It's going to give us all the ability to, like naturally be on Ozempic and like be healthy and fit and like extend our life. And we're going to nuke it.
Yeah. I wonder if the aliens are going to bring like a good version of NFTs.
That's where your head goes? NFTs?
I don't know. I was listening to something about crypto being a fraud earlier, and I'm like, what if we tried to sell the aliens Bitcoin? Do you think they're buying? You think that the aliens want my ETH? Like, should I buy ETH to sell to the aliens in 2026? Let me know in the comments.
Just bring mushrooms and say, no, I swear this is not a fungible token. It's a fungi token.
It is a non-fungible token. This is an LBM I found in my backyard. Would you like? Don't eat it, but it's kind of neat if you'd like to look at it, Mr. Alien. Hire me. I'll do it. I'll go talk to him. Yeah, Baba Vanga. I'm into it. I like this. This is a very Hope Core Manhattan-sized spaceship. Yeah, man, that's a lot of alien stuff. I did want to. Do you have anything else about Baba Vanga?
No, that's all I got. Look her up. She's got some batshit stuff. It's
I'm intrigued by her. Maybe we can follow up on her prophecies as we record more of these episodes. One thing I do want to say that I didn't mention in mine was like, so in that 2020 congressional testimony, since then, like there has been a bunch of testimony about UFOs because like there are some truly batshit people in power who were like, no, just fucking release all the alien shit. So there was like testimony on Roswell, on us keeping alien corpses, on all sorts of shit that I would love to dive into in another episode, but I was like, that's too much for this one. So I think that's it for this episode of Cryptids Decrypted. But what are we going to do next time? Yeah, do you have any burning curiosities and desires, John?
Well, we're going to talk about AI and how that's really impacted the space. If there is, any hope for being a cryptozoologist for those young kids coming out of, crypto school, not the bad crypto school, but the good crypto school that we like. I'd love to talk about Dogman a little bit, especially how that's kind of blown up in popularity a little bit. Yeah, I think it's going to be more various things that are going on and less so a singular cryptid we're going to deep dive in because we're kind of digging the depths. Now I do want to talk about all of these cryptids in the Italian Alps, which could potentially dovetail with the AI conversation we're going to have. So that may be one where we look at the slew of things there. It's fascinating. I didn't realize there were so many in such a small space. But if Western Australia taught me anything,
Australia can fit a lot of cryptids. I think that, so one thing that does make me hopeful about AI for this podcast is it has made it a lot easier to find sources. So like, rather than having to go and do a shit ton of Google searches through people's like Substacks and blogs and things, I've been able to find sources relatively quickly and just go directly to them and not sift through Google shit. Been great. So I think that that might actually help us find stuff about old cryptids that we never found before and find new cryptids that we don't know about. We could explore some other cultures. So I'm stoked. We're back. If you like this, subscribe to the pod, like the pod, you know, buy my books. Go do that. I don't know. We'll see you around. If you want any other like info about what I'm doing, if you go to macashton.substack.com, I have a like mostly weekly newsletter. It's only interesting shit. I keep it short, and yeah, I'll post updates in there. But other than that, we'll be back.
We are so back.
We're so back.